stumbling right off the bat, right? Anyway, I want to talk today a little bit about game prep. And because I'm a new DM, I kind of had to find my way on this. I think everybody has to find their way on it because I don't really see like one way that fits everybody. You know what I mean? And so as I was kind of like reading into it, because I'm the DM for our group, and it's been a long time since I ran a game, and I don't even remember how I did prep back in the day. So I was looking at different ways to do prep, and some of them were like super detailed, and some of them had like up teen steps, and I was like, man, like yeah, I like to prep for my game, but at the same time, like I don't want to do days and days of prep because you know I got a family, I got a full-time job. I don't really have all the extra time to really invest in just prepping for a game. So I wanted to cut it down as much as I can and still run a great game. You know what I mean? Because I don't think freestyling a game off the top of your head, maybe some people can do that, but I can't. You know what I mean? Um, so I was sorry, I got a train going by. Anyway, I was looking into different things, different ways of doing it, and I ended up landing on I saw a video talking about Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, right? I was like, hey, that's my jam right there. So I went, I checked it out. It's on slyflourish.com, ran by Mike Shea. Sorry again about the train, you dig? Um, so all credit to him, right? I don't want to act like I came up with these steps or anything, but he released a lot of that book on his website so you can read it like for free. Like you just like you don't get to see the art and stuff, but you can read the it's like the SRD document or whatever for the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. I forgot exactly what it's called, man. I should have wrote that down. But you can go and you can read a large chunk of the information that's in that book, and you can read it for free. But you can also go and buy the book. I actually bought the audio book of the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master because me and the family, when we went down to Myrtle Beach, and on the drive back, I was like, man, I got hours of driving in front of me, and I got to learn how to become a dungeon master. So you know what I'm gonna do? I bought the audio book, and I just listen all the way from Myrtle Beach, heading north, and it was like a crash course on how to DM, how to run your game, how to prepare for your game. Anyway, so in Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, there's 8 steps, and I just want to briefly go over those 8 steps. You dig? And so those 8 steps are review the characters. So you're kind of like um, looking at, well, what I do is I look at names of characters. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll review like, you know, armor class, or like what class and what level they are, and maybe kind of look that up in the player's handbook. If I have a few extra minutes, I'll look that up in the player's handbook and kind of get a general gist of what their abilities are and what they can do. But I really write down like when I'm reviewing this step, I'll write down like what they're hoping for, like in ways of story or magic items, so if they are really hoping for their character to, you know, do this thing that wraps up their backstory or whatever, I'll review that and see if this adventure I can include something towards that, or maybe we can wrap it up this adventure. You dig? Um, I have one character right now who their grandmother's ring was stolen. It was a ring of water walking, and in fact, this adventure they're going to be fighting the pirate that has that ring. So they beat the pirate. She'll get the ring of water walking back, and that wraps up part of her backstory. And or maybe it'll be something different than just beating the pirate. Maybe maybe it'll be, yeah, maybe it'll be different than just beating them up and taking it. Yeah. You know, yeah, maybe it'll be a little something different. Talk about that in a minute. Anyway, and so, and then, like, things that they have expressed to me that they want to, like, get, like, magical bows and arrows, or you know, I don't know. Uh, there's 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 one that probably would just get. She's not technically a magic using class, but she wants to use magic a little bit. So maybe some, like, single use scrolls and type things. So I might drop some of those in the game as it makes sense. You dig? Anyway, reviewing the characters, backstory, and what they want out of the game. Next is secrets and clues, and this is like where you write down 10 secrets and clues that they can find out during the game. Now, they might not find out all of them, but it's like just 10 secrets and clues that kind of propel the story or part of the story. And this is really good because you don't tie the secrets and clues to any particular way that they find it. So, like, you can drop it, on a cave painting, or you can drop it in some scrap of parchment that they pick up. However you want to drop it into the game, you can, but you're just writing down the secrets and clues, and not how they're going to find them. You're just going to drop that in. You're going to improv that. And the next part is scenes. So you just kind of a general outline how you think the night's going to go. Best laid plans of mice and men, right? But you just kind of outline how you think it's going to go. Next one is a strong start. And these are super important because, like, I know a lot of games start off, you're in a tavern, right? And then people just, like, talk for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And I can't take that, man. I need to get right into it. A little bit of talking, a little bit of role playing, that's fine. But, man, I can't sit there for 30, 45 minutes while we're just kind of fumbling around. I can't do it. I know other people kind of dig it. I can't, though. So I like a strong start. Start with a fight, boom, into the action. Or, a disaster is happening and the character's got to help out. Or, they open the door of the tavern and there's, bloody body and they got to investigate what happened or whatever. Just something that propels them into the story. I dig that, man. I dig that. Other people love the tavern or love the slow starts, whatever. I can't do it. But a strong start, boom, right into it. I dig that stuff. Fantastic locations is the next one. And I dig this because sometimes you're not really giving much thought to your locations. But he even says, like, you want to name it something cool, And so today's adventure, there's a room in an underground cavern, and in that room is a well. It's a dry well. There's no water in it, but it goes deep, 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 deep down. And underneath, like, this far underground chamber is a Leviathan that's been locked away for ages. And he speaks through this well up into the room. And so it's called the Well of Dark Echoes. You know what I mean? So just come up with, like, a cool description of the room and, like, a cool name for the room or forest or wherever, you dig? Next one is important NPCs. I mean, that one's kind of self-explanatory, you dig? And so, you write down obviously the name, but more about them, you know, maybe a description or whatnot, and maybe their motivation, what they're trying to do. I was a little light on it. I should probably fill in a little more for this session because we're playing tonight, you know, and I waited to the last minute to prep. That's just how I do it. Yeah, I probably got to get better on that. But and anyway, the next step is relevant monsters, right? You're not just picking monsters because, you know, hey, the challenge rating's right. No, you're choosing relevant monsters, monsters that would make sense for the situation and the room and everything. And then magic item rewards, you know, magic. It says magic item rewards, but it could be like any type of reward, you know what I mean? But a lot of times you're given magic items, and you can use the random roll table right in the DM's guide. That's kind of what I used for this time around. But then I kind of alter it, going back to reviewing the characters, right? I alter it looking at kind of what the characters have wanted or hoped for or are working towards. So, like, one of the magic item rewards is the Ring of Water Walking that the grandmother gave to the character that's been stolen. So that's included in my magic item rewards. You dig? And then this isn't one of his steps, but I just have a page for notes. And I'm going to fill that in during game time, you know. Game time? Anyway, wonder if I should go over tonight's stuff as like an example. I kind of included some of it already. Why not? Just hope none of my players are watching. Right? We get a little preview of everything to come. So spoilers, you know. Anyway, so like under reviewing the characters, so we'll go back to step one. Under reviewing the characters, I talked about the character's name is Ra, right? And she wants her grandmother's ring back that's been stolen. And the pirate who has it, his name's Captain Redpaw. He's a Tabaxi pirate. And he has it. And when the characters ended, or when the game ended last time, the characters were on a ship about to they had just set sail, and out of the hull comes whole crew of Redpaw and several pirates because they're going to take the ship from the characters. So that's where we ended. So this game's going to pick up with that fight right when that fight's about to happen. So she's probably Ra, the character's, you know, gonna fight the pirate. Now if they beat the pirate, she can just take the ring, right? But now I'm thinking that he might do a trade. He might do a trade, and we'll get more into that. So, skipping to the next step, secrets and clues. Now, actually, yeah, we'll go with secrets and clues. I kind of did it out of order. Probably should have done scenes first, or scenes second. So let's just jump to scenes. I know I'm making this way more difficult than it needs to be. Scenes. So they're gonna start with the fight with the pirates, but then in, let's see, 1d4 turns, they're gonna start seeing ships out to sea that are on fire, and that's kind of gonna mess up the fight. Like, both pirates and the characters are gonna kind of stop fighting and see the scene of ships that are ablaze and like people in the water that are, you know, deceased. And when they go to investigate, they're gonna find out that oh man, I don't even know how to pronounce these things. The Soggen. They're like fish warrior people. Attack these ships, and they're gonna find out that these fish warrior people attack these ships because the ships got too close to an island where the fish warrior people are doing this little ritual, right? And the ritual is to unleash this Leviathan that is right now imprisoned below the crust of the world. And so this warlock of this fish people has this really powerful magical artifact that he's using to do this ritual to release this Leviathan, and he's using these fish warriors to protect the island so no one interferes with this ritual, and these ships got too close. And now the maybe Redpaw, right? The pirate with the ring of water walking. Maybe he'll offer this trade, right? So the warlock has a lightning sword that was granted to him by the Leviathan. Kind of like a magical thing. The Leviathan's name, we're playing in Wildemount, so the Leviathan has a name. It's Uk'otoa, I think. UK''OTOA. Uk'otoa. Let's go with that, right? Anyway, the warlock of Uk'otoa is granted a lightning sword, right? So maybe Redpaw the pirate, if they don't beat him, if they beat him, they can just take the ring. But if they don't beat him, if kind of it turns into from a battle to a role playing situation, maybe Redpaw offers the trade. I'll give you the ring of water walking if you bring me the warlock sword. You know, it's a good trade. But because I mean, imagine a pirate with the sword has like a lightning ability. So imagine a pirate that can strike you with lightning. That's terrifying. Much more terrifying than a ring of water walking. So yeah, I could see a pirate captain being like, "Yo, I will give you this ring if you hook me up with a sword." You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's a great deal, you know. And then he is a fearsome pirate because he's got a lightning sword. Anyway, they're gonna meet while they're investigating this whole thing. They're gonna meet a fish warrior that was kind of straggling behind. They met him in an early adventure. His name is Varm, and they helped him out. So he's gonna help them out, and he's gonna tell them about a secret passageway to the island where they can get there undetected. Okay. Once they get to the island, they are going to have probably a scuffle or two with some corrupted wildlife because of the evilness from the Leviathan kind of leaking out onto the island. After that, they're gonna find some caves. They're gonna go into the caves. It'll kind of be like a little mini dungeon. They'll have to do they'll probably fight a few fish warriors. They'll probably have to solve a puzzle or a trap, and then they finally get to the room that has the Well of Deep Echoes, and that's where the warlock is doing his little ritual to release the Leviathan, and they obviously got to stop the ritual and beat the warlock, and then the magical artifact that he's using, the power of the ritual, is going to be super important too. They got to take that. So anyway, that's kind of how the scenes are going to go. We'll see if that's how it really goes, but that's how I kind of have it planned out. So then the secrets and clues, I mean, they include the kind of hidden information that's kind of going to move the story along, that there's a Leviathan trapped beneath the seafloor. They don't know that yet. That a warlock named Zarthal wants to release the Leviathan. AI actually helped me come up with the name and a little bit of the adventure planning. So I just typed it into ChatGPT, and I was just like, man, I want the D&D adventure, and here's some kind of specifics. And it throughout, it kind of came up with an adventure, and I kind of just pick and choose, I kind of like that name, and I kind of like what happens here, but a lot of it, toss. But that's another way to get a little inspiration if you're kind of stuck. You know, that they're going to do a ritual to release the Leviathan. There's a safe route to the island. Uh, the warlock has a special sword. The magical artifact is being used to power the ritual. And so these are just some secrets and clues that are kind of going to clue the characters into the story and what's going on, and they can use that information to, you know, progress in the story, but also alter things. You know what I mean? They get a hold of that magical item that's powering the ritual. They get a hold of that and they take that. Well, he can't do the ritual now. You dig? So this gives them not just information to move the story forward, but also options. You know? So that's secrets and clues, and I kind of went over scenes. Strong start, kind of went over it already. We're gonna start with the pirate battle on the ship, and then in D4 turns, maybe just straight 4, not turns, rounds, in maybe just 4 rounds. I don't know. Maybe just keep things random and do a D4 rounds. That's when they're gonna see the burning ships and the people in the water and all that, and hopefully they take the bait to investigate. You know, maybe they're like, oh, that's nice, kill the pirates, you know. But hopefully, you know, a GM's job, GM, DM, narrator, storyteller, whatever it is in your game, your job primarily is to improvise. Okay, the story and all these steps that I'm talking about, these are just tools to help you improvise better. But when you're running the game, you're improvising a lot. You know, listen to the players, and when they're like, oh, you know, if we take the magic item and we like shove it in the guy's chest, maybe he'll explode. And you're like, I didn't think of that, but sounds cool. Yeah, you guys can totally try that. Let's go with some rolls, though. You know, you just kind of roll with it. You know, you improvise. But all this stuff is helping you to improvise well. You know, you don't want to just kind of go off the seat of your pants and, like, the story's crud. You know what I mean? Anyway, fantastic locations. I was a little sparse on this. You know, the open sea, obviously. The island's kind of like a jungle island a little bit. The caves that they're going to go into, I call it the Caves of Whispers. And that's because the Leviathan kind of talks throughout the caves. But then there's the room with the Well of Dark Echoes, which I've kind of already talked about. Has the well that goes all the way down, and the Leviathan talks through that. And so they're going to hear the Leviathan most clearly, most better. That's terrible. In that room, and like the Leviathan's going to be messing with them, you know, psychically or whatever. I'll figure that out. Anyway, important NPCs: the pirate captain Redpaw, the Leviathan Uk'otoa, and Zerthal, the warlock of Uk'otoa. You know, I still got to write some description. Well, they already know the description of Redpaw. He's a Tabaxi pirate, and you know, he's kind of like a played up Jack Sparrow. You know what I mean? And you know, gotta go with a little bit of Jack Sparrow, man. When you're doing a pirate adventure, come on, dude. You know, you can't just ignore that. That character's just too good, man. You know, I can't do Jack Sparrow perfect. I ain't gonna lie, but you know, Redpaw's kind of like Jack Sparrow on a Red Bull. You dig? I still gotta kind of figure out Uk'otoa and Zerthal. Kind of gotta figure out like their personalities and kind of like a character that they're like. That way I can do a voice or mannerisms or whatever. Well, obviously, the Leviathan won't have mannerisms because he's like imprisoned, but you know, he wants to get released, so he might be promising the world if somebody releases him. You know what I mean? And it's all baloney. But and then so relevant monsters. The last step here, you got the warlock. That's in the Wildemount book, page 297. So yeah, I write down the monster and then I'll write down what book and the page number, because just writing down the monsters, you know, that's going to be super annoying come game time when you got to look up what pages they are. So I write down monster name, book, page. So the warlock's on the in the Wildemount book, page 297, and then you got the fish warrior people. They're on 263. I threw a giant crab in there because who knows, that might come up. That's on, or so 263 is in the monster manual. The giant crabs in the monster manual 324. I'm using the bandit captain stat block in the monster manual 344 for red paws stats. You know, I might use thug in the monster manual 350 for like just the average pirate that's kind of with him, you know, his pirate crew. And maybe I'll throw a healer in there that's kind of healing him or whatever. Lastly, magic item rewards. Gonna throw a couple healing potions. And like I said, you know, get an idea of some magic item rewards, but then review what your characters want. And so obviously the Ring of Water Walking, I got one character that uses a bow and arrow, and so maybe on one of those burning ships, if they investigate a little bit, maybe he'll find a crate of +1 ammo or something. One of the characters really wants a bag of holding, so that might get dropped in there. One of the characters uses a whip, so maybe there'll be a better whip somewhere in there. Like maybe the first mate of the pirate captain, you know, the first mate, maybe he uses a whip, and if they beat him, she grabs the whip. Anyway, so that was my prep for today. Probably took me a little over an hour to prep that. And I used some random tables. I flipped through books. Like the whole idea about the Leviathan and the Warlock, all that came together from me flipping through the Wildemount book, and I was flipping through their monsters that are in that book, and I came across that Warlock, and I was like, Warlock Akatoa or whatever, and I was like, man, that'd be perfect for this adventure, and put it all together. Anyway, that's how I prep. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave in the comments how you prep. I'd love to hear it. Especially, so I shoot for prep to be like an hour or less. I mean, sometimes it's more than that. And I've spent more than that on prep. And, you know, it's all right. But, dude, I don't want to be prepping a super long time. I don't, you know. If I was like Matt Mercer and I had thousands and thousands of people watching me do my games and stuff, oh yeah, I'd probably prep a whole lot more. But I'm just running a game for some friends, so you know, an hour to 2 hours of prep for a game, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I know that there's people that were like, oh, you got to do 2 hours of prep for every 1 hour of play. I mean, I guess if that's your thing, but for me, nah, man, nah. I'm down with 1 to 2 hours of prep. After that, man, I don't like prep is fun. It is, but if you get too much prep, it starts to just be a burden, and then you don't want to do it, and then you're not having fun. And if you're not having fun, then you're gonna eventually get burnt out, and you're gonna end the game, and then there's no game to play or prep for, and that's no fun. You dig? So I stick 1 to 2 hours, right about there, and I have fun doing it. So that's where I'm at. Let me know how you guys do it. God bless, and until next time, grab some friends and roll some dice, bruh. How do I end this thing? I don't know.